Oh boy.
Hey, we're live.
I fucked myself hardcore.
Did you enjoy it?
No.
Oh, well, that's no fun.
Well, I think I left my charger at the store.
Oh, you're right.
I'm gonna need my phone to be charged so I can get up in the morning. Yeah, that's a bad thing.
I'll give you this one if you have a thing for it, but it's really in bad shape.
You know what I really need is the other. I have another one of these at the house. I need one of the little.
Oh, you need a wall work.
I need a wall work.
That's a long time.
Unfortunately, I'm using my backup because I got salsa all over my hands.
This has been salsa fire.
Salsa.
That means I'm gonna have to stop the thing.
Someone text Rick Worth and be like, "We're on the YouTubes already." So everyone's got their notes.
Yeah.
I got that.
Shouldn't?
Notes. Is anyone familiar enough with a live chat? Like, if I put something in the chat room now, does anyone who comes in sees it or no?
I think so, yeah.
Do they?
Yeah,
Okay.
it should be right.
Because I remember when I came in, I saw all of Texas Owl's old messages.
Okay, because I want to type a thing on there as a preface that says, if the live feed drops, we'll try to post it back up as soon as we can. I hate when it does that, but what are you going to do? Oh. Come on,
You know what,
people.
Mikey?
What's up, buddy?
I will borrow that because I could use it in my car to charge it on the way home.
Like I said, just be careful because it might catch you on fire. Sorry to say.
Yeah, a little bit of electrical tape would be good for that, yeah.
It's very finicky, that's for sure. It's very finicky.
Oh, finicky, little fine, you put them on my hip, finicky.
That sucks. That means I'm going to have to stop back at the store tomorrow after you open, too.
Well, you'll be right over there.
Now,
You could even go in earlier. Because you know those guys get there at like 9.
I got to go back to 204 at 7 a.m. to drive the kids to school.
You know.
Yeah. We're live.
Are you sitting there, Jay? Or are you sliding over this way more?
I'll be pushed forward.
Okay. Just want to know. Set up your microphone.
Microphone?
Microphone. Be hacking and snorting all episode.
Nice. Hey, I did it enough times.
Hey, live stream. Share the live streams. Where's it at?
I'm going to use my phone as little as possible.
Yeah, you really don't need it for anything, I don't think, do you?
No, I usually just follow along in the show notes when we have them.
Nice. That was live.
It wasn't me. Generate another random topic. What's your favorite season? I don't know, black pepper, you can't really go wrong.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I
Garlic.
think you're right.
Sheets taco sauce.
I think it's a man
Is that
thing that
actually-
season. Or just say seasonings.
It's a season.
Yeah, season.
So it's singular. You're
It's
only
singular
like
season.
one.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Pumpkin, yeah, like pumpkin season. Yeah.
Cayenne pepper.
Rabbit season. That's mine.
Duck season.
Duck season.
Season of the Witch. What do you think your life will look like in 10 years? A lot of dirt. Very dark. It's death. You're going to be dead. We'll all
Could
be
get
dead.
it. Could get it.
This world is going to shit.
Yeah, we'll be in the...
Dylan Zane Mock likes it already that we shared it.
I don't know who that is.
Dylan. It's the guy the new guy at work.
Yeah.
Who we're pretty sure you're gonna love him,
Yeah,
but you're gonna hate him at first because we all hated him at first. But
I
he's
didn't. I loved him from day one.
he's great though.
Final thoughts before bedtime, shared by Shy Kennedy. The clitoris has around 8,000 nerve endings and still isn't as sensitive as a white man on the internet.
That's fantastic. Do microphone check.
You guys ready to mic check?
Mic check it up. This is a microphone chest. Chest?
Chest.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Microphone test. Money, money, money. 1, 2.
Money, money, money.
This is Chesterphone Mike 1 2.
Oh, you took the call.
This is boobies.
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 Babies.
Boobs.
BWBS.
This is a microphone chest. Chest?
Chest.
2 1 2.
Microphone test. Money, money, money. 1 2.
This is a Chesterphone mic. 1 2.
This is boobies.
Boobies.
They look like boobies.
Boobs.
They do. Those are cubies, though. But they could be
Cubies.
boobies.
Cuby boobies.
Cuby boobies.
If tits were square, do you think we'd call them cubies?
Yeah.
I do
And
too.
if tits didn't have nipples, it would be pointless.
My chat's not working.
That's true.
Well, I'm not typing to anybody then.
What?
Whatever reason.
Can they hear us?
Can everybody see
There's
us?
one person there. Hello. Can you see us?
Can you hear us?
I don't know why it is not working. I do not see it. Oh, look at you with your little split screen.
And says
Oh.
yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why it's not working. Just mute that and keep up the chat box, I guess.
William Doolittle, aka Will Duke. Ready
Cool.
to start when you are, Lord.
Lord.
You can
All hail the
change
mighty
my knife.
shit
Shit,
lord.
Oh.
That's it. Did you text Rick?
Did.
Okay,
I just said
cool.
we're
This is
on.
before I record. Anybody needs to know, they have Vicks on them, so they're fantastic.
Ooh, super smooth.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's me.
sound like you're burning
Is there a
rubber.
second verse?
Mm-hmm.
Same as the first?
Nice.
Was that King Henry VIII?
Mhm.
That's
That's
it
who it
was.
That was King Diamond.
Yes.
I thought it was King.
Thunderbolt and Lightning. Oh, no. Well,
Is this me? Or
this,
is it-
yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's you?
I love some boss water.
You look like
The Lowe's.
a bottle of
It
water.
would be lovely if Voss would give us
Now let's get
A
some more of that in the
sponsorship.
picture.
Voss water is the best water.
Boss it up. Boop, boop.
I don't know if I want to put that there again.
I'll drink it.
I know.
Yeah, you're.
Here, I'll put this on mine.
You're sick. Or I'm sick. I don't
Uh-uh.
You're
know.
sick.
Uh-oh.
What are you going to do? Catch wellness?
Did I do that?
Do that.
I don't know.
I want to do it.
I don't want
Oh.
to do that.
I want to go today.
Do you have a little marker, like a Sharpie?
Good question.
Thanks, man.
It's gonna take.
I got my photos. We're good.
Oh, we gotta take a photo of you this
Yeah,
time.
whatever. I'll take my shoes.
Yeah, did you notice how sensitive he was
I know,
about
right?
that?
It's like a white guy on the internet, right?
I know.
I'm a white guy on the internet.
See?
Fact.
I don't want.
All right,
Fact,
Shazam, I love it.
I'm not.
Shazam?
I have to drop
It's
a
the
fact
Flash,
first.
mother.
You have to do what?
Before we start, I have to drop a fact. Did you know that the clitoris has over 8,000 nerve endings?
How many?
And it's still not as sensitive as Jay Smith when you don't take pictures of him during the podcast.
Oh. Shazam!
Hold on, let me see if my gun's dirty. Oh, this one's clean.
Yeah, that one. I was
Maybe
wondering.
not.
Everybody gonna get pictures
At
of
the same time.
Yeah, right. I'll get pictures of you guys taking pictures of Jay. Here,
To document that it actually
Yeah,
happened.
there we go.
I was here. All right, you ready?
All right, we're gonna
Me.
in 5, 4.
Oh, before you do, at the
It
end of
wasn't me
the,
this week.
at the end of the episode, let it hang a little longer before you cut it. Will we go?
Are we talking about circumcision again?
Maybe. Please listen responsibly.
And 3, 2, 1.
Click.
Okay.
Because I noticed there's been a few of the episodes where it's been cutting it off too soon for some reason.
Like, listen responsible.
Yeah, Richard respond. So,
All right, going live in 5, 4.
Hold on a minute. That was purely for
Uh-oh.
meanness.
JJ Feathers.
Oh, somebody didn't mute his phone.
I'm going. Hold on.
You
Turn them on there. All right, there we go. What's going on, everyone? It's Jay from the Wednesday Night Whiskey Committee here with another episode. This week, as always, before we get started, let's present this lovely cast of characters with me. In the swivel chair Maximus, Mr. Universe himself. I'm glad I wore that shirt so I wouldn't get confused. What do you got there, buddy?
We'll find out in a minute.
You're deviating.
Yeah. Well, I figured if you were going to vary up, I couldn't vary the way I wanted to at the last minute, but I still got something in the bag.
Good evening, everybody.
Sorry, we got kind of sidetracked there. Mr. Universe, Captain Tight Pants, the sexiest man I know, alive, anywhere in the world. You look him up, Mike Cavino's picture is right there. That's just how it goes. Co-host and co-founder, like I said, Michael J. Cavino.
Hi.
And across the table, I got two handsome dudes, which all the young dudes.
They hit on
Hooples.
They hit on
Wow.
all,
Yeah, whatever.
all the young dudes hit on us.
The guy across the street, he's like, "Here's podcast night." We're like, "Oh yeah, buddy, I'm a bourbon man." Good. The bearded one, the Red Warlock, the man of many modes, the modal master. I just can't get enough of this man. We were excited about lined Ranger pants today.
We were.
Give it up.
Dude, you know they feel good in your cheeks.
I can't wait. Co-host and co-founder, John J. Feathers.
Guten Abend.
And also across the table to Jason's left,
My left.
my right, for those of you watching at home, that guy.
My bad.
He's a little bit of Al goes a long way. It's Vitamin Al. You know him. You love him. Not the not so hidden fourth member anymore. The Reverend
The Reverend.
Al Scott.
Thank you, and guten Tag.
Oh,
Good day.
Good day.
Good day. You're
But
used
it's
evening.
evening. Yeah.
Well, they don't know that.
Did you say bidet?
Bidet.
Oh.
Yes. We said bidet.
I think it went tickles my butt.
Yeah.
You know-
Like lined Ranger pants.
Kevin says, "Evening, lads."
Evening,
Evening,
lads.
What's up, Kevin?
Hi. Kevin.
Greetings.
Now let's move right along here to my second most favorite part of the evening, where we present arms. Since we just celebrated our first anniversary, I want to kick it back to where I began in the gun world. So I'm remembering my roots and going back to the old standby. This evening I have the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield chambered in 9mm, and as you can see,
It's clear.
it is.
You know why I think he brought that tonight out?
Because it's probably not dirty.
So he could get us to clean it up.
Yeah,
I was
wondering.
hoping.
I was wondering.
I'm presenting my AR next week.
Actually, look at that port. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Next week, bring
Oh,
the kit.
yeah.
I am presenting
Haters.
guaranteed clean
Guaranteed clean.
Dan Wesson 44, and as you can see,
It's beautiful. Spin me, baby. Wow, you're spinning me right round. That was good.
all the way, baby.
That port was filthy.
That's singed.
That's what she said.
That's powder burned.
Oh, okay. My bad. Hey, I said my bad. As usual, the Springfield XDS 3.3 barrel length and chambered in 45 ACP, and as you can see,
Clean,
it is
clear,
and
fresh as a whistle. You can call that thing Irish Spring.
hi, laddie. Good, yeah.
Oh boy.
Fresh as a whistle.
Ah.
I myself this evening, just because I knew Jay was mixing it up a little bit. Don't worry, I still have the high power in the back.
Oh, I got
But-
the thesis.
yeah,
right.
right. But
Whoa. Nothing.
Jay was mixing it up, so I thought that this evening I would present the Glock 17. And as you can see,
It's
it's
clear.
it is clear.
It is clear.
It's mostly clean, but like it's a Glock, so you just drag them through the mud and it's good.
Nice.
But I thought that was a 1911 that you dragged through a mud. It's good.
No, that's the 1911. You drag through the mud if you don't ever want it to work again, ever.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying, some old guy, he was calling God over at Sheets, and he said 1911.
Oh yeah, that's true. That did happen.
Well, you were there.
I was there.
Yeah.
It did happen.
I didn't show up.
That's a 58th Street sheet story for you.
Yeah.
For everybody listening at home.
You don't have to be a Patreon for that one.
You don't have to. No.
Speaking
No.
of Patreon, Jay,
What's up?
what if people want to give us money?
This dude is like
He's
segueing.
jumping my gun.
He is Mr. Universe.
Let's get on to the meat and the minutes here. Before I do the often imitated, never duplicated, often desired.
Really?
social medias.
Mm.
Yeah.
I only have one bullet point in my show notes. The media for this week, the minutes, is that next week we will for sure be doing at some point this weekend. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't care how long it takes, but Al and I will be doing up the whiskeys for the science experiment part D. We will be getting those filtered and rebottled so they can
I'm looking forward to that.
be primed and ready for that episode and get some tasting going on. Other than that, we do have, like Mikey suggested, we do have social medias. That would be Facebook. That would be Twitter. That would be Instagram. We have a Reddit page. We have the email, which is WednesdayNightWhiskey@gmail.com. And we're calling everybody out right now. If you've been enjoying the show since day one, or day two, it doesn't matter what day you are. If you enjoy what we do, why don't you hit up our Patreon site? If every person donated $1,
Right. Which was a great idea, by the way.
which would be
Ciccarella.
at most on a holiday, $5 a month would be super beneficial to us.
Yeah.
Out of your pocket.
We have hosting fees coming up.
You sure do. February, they're rolling right around the corner.
That's right.
Um,
This could be the last episode of the Wednesday Night Whiskey Community.
we got a few more. Those could be it. But no, hit up our Patreon account. Basically, what that is, that's a reoccurring donation that helps us with the cost to keep the show up and running and functional. And if you're curious as to how to find that, you open up your web browser, your smartphone, your carrier pigeon, whatever you got to do, and you type in www.patreon.com /Wed Night Whiskey, and by God, you will find us. We are on there. You can send us your donations, and we are greatly, greatly appreciative of those. And once we have some whiskey poured in these glasses, we will be toasting each one of our Patreon members. That is a weekly show thing. You donate, you get airtime, for sure, no doubt. We also have a coffee site, which again, I always reiterate now the last couple of weeks. We don't know why, but it is there. If you want to send us a cup of coffee, it's about the equivalent of like $4. We will use that to go towards the
Absolutely.
the funding of this show. If you're into say you're a guy or a gal and you like clothes, which I mean,
I don't like them.
you don't like clothes.
No.
That's why he's naked right now.
I'm nude.
I thought he didn't like
For
guys
those of
and
you
gals.
listening through your various podcasting devices, but not watching our live YouTube stream, Mike is totally naked right
He
now.
is right now.
Mr. Universe.
Straight up hanging brain.
I'm like Pluto. Sorry, buddy. That's okay.
I don't understand the reference.
Never mind.
Hung like Pluto? Like a planet?
The tiniest planet.
It's still a
It's still a
planet,
planet.
though.
It's not even a planet.
It
anymore.
is to a planet.
It's not
no,
hung
it's
like
not.
a red
It's been
dwarf.
down
Well,
south.
downgraded to a
well, hey,
star.
the government's closed. Who's going to argue with me? It's a planet.
Right
Yeah.
on.
Give him a cup of coffee. Change his mind.
Listen.
What the fuck are we talking about?
Mike
Pluto.
being
Oh,
hung
Care
like
about
Pluto.
Pluto? That's messed up.
Do I care about Pluto?
Yeah, what's wrong with Pluto?
I mean, I care about
I
it,
think
sure.
Pluto doesn't get enough love.
I care about
That's
all
what
the
I'm saying.
planets.
Was
Let's
Pluto-
talk about Pluto for a while.
We can do that. Was Pluto ever circumcised?
No.
I don't
No,
think Mickey
he was
did
a
that.
Gentile.
No.
But if you're into clothes and like wearing clothes, and if you don't, that's fine too. I'm sure we can come up with some.
What do we do for nudists?
Tattoos.
Tattoos.
Wednesday Night Whiskey tattoos.
Right.
Nice.
Right.
I'm in. Let's go
Yeah.
get them.
On the taint.
You know, for months ago, I did talk to Adam Zimmer when he was trying to upstart Paper Moon Tattooing Company. I said, we'd love to come on and, feature you guys. And he's like, yeah, that'd be totally cool. Maybe we could organize a tattoo trip.
Wow.
You think you tattoo my taint?
Probably.
Right on.
I would.
I don't want to watch.
Give me something different to look at.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Change the scenery.
Jesus Christ. Literally, we shit on everything.
Are we past the rating already?
I think so.
Okay.
We've earned the E for this evening.
That's good.
If you want some fresh ass swag, is what I'm getting at. head over to redbubble.com. There you go. That is redbubble.com /people/Wed Night Whiskey. They're posting, promo codes and stuff about once a week. And we're always trying to upload those as soon as I see them. And you usually save anywhere between 25 or 20 to 30% off of an order if you want some Wednesday Night Whiskey swag, which we're still waiting on some secret design that we haven't even been showed yet from Mike Cavino.
That's
Oh, yeah,
true.
I'm dying. So once I finish dying, I will.
once he is ripped, he will get back on the Schneid hearing.
I had to uninstall Photoshop and then reinstall a new version of Photoshop, and it runs like trash. So I have to figure out why it's doing that.
It's because you touch yourself at night.
Well, that has nothing to do with it. That's why it runs better.
I think it has. Who runs better, you or never mind. I'm done.
E-rating.
I think it's time.
Okay.
We ready to travel to?
We ready to Cardew?
I think we're ready to Cardew.
Cardew.
Take the next step in the Game of Thrones.
Cardew or Cardo?
That's all. That is
Oh.
the question.
Jason, take us away.
I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about Cardew.
Oh,
Whiskey.
snap.
Oh, snap.
Now, the story is, according to the Cardew website, the Cardew whiskey was founded by Helen Cumming in 1811 as an illicit distillery. It actually didn't become licensed until 1824. Cardew is the first distillery to be officially pioneered by women, 2 women, in fact. And we may have actually mentioned this on the Women of Whiskey episode. I'm pretty sure we
I hope we
probably did. Yeah,
If we did not, we
we're
apologize.
mentioning it now. 2 women, in fact. In 1872, Elizabeth Cummings, who happened to be the daughter-in-law of the founders, took over the running of the distillery and set about refining the flavor and character of the whiskey that we know today. The licensed distillery was set up by Mr. John Cumming, Helen's husband, and former whiskey smuggler, in 1824. The distillery was sited high up on Manic Hill above the River Spey due to the peat softening the water. The distillery started as a farm distillery, working on a seasonal basis after the harvest had been gathered. And the distillery was mainly run by Helen, who used to sell bottles of whiskey to passersby through the window of their farmhouse.
That's awesome.
That's super awesome. Due to the hill the farm distillery was on, Helen would be able to see the police coming and would throw flour all over herself and say that she was baking bread to disguise the smell. She would then offer them tea and fly a flag outside so that the other nearby distilleries could see and take prompt action. I just thought that was awesome. This woman was outside the confines of the law. In 1885, the distillery was rebuilt on a new piece of land, but continued to stay in the hands of the Cumming family, being run by Elizabeth Cumming, heretofore mentioned, the daughter-in-law of Helen. The stills from the old distillery were brought to William Grant, who set up the Glenfiddich distillery. The new building and stills meant that Cardew could produce triple the amount of whiskey it had previously produced. These higher production levels led to Johnny Walker and Sons buying much of Cardew's output to put into their increasingly popular blend. In 1893, Elizabeth Cumming sold the distillery to Johnny Walker and Sons on the condition that the Cumming family could continue the day-to-day running of the distillery. Cardew Distillery kept working under these conditions until the onset of the Second World War, when wartime restrictions meant that it was harder to use barley for distilling purposes. In 1960, the distillery's still house, mash house, and tun room were rebuilt, and in 1970, steam coils were introduced to heat the stills, and the number of stills were increased to 6. Spring water from Manic Hill started to be mixed with water from the local Lynburn. That's a stream or a creek, little body of water. Creek. To supply, see, it's hard to say like creek.
That's
So
a
they say.
crick.
So they say Baron.
What?
Baron.
Baron?
Baron.
That says burn.
Yeah, Baron. To supply the increased production of the distillery. There was some controversy in December 2003 when parent company Diageo halted the production of Cardew single malt and replaced it with a blended malt, which they then labeled as a pure malt. You can't see the air quotes, but I'm using them. They used the same bottle design and label as the single malt bottle. This decision by Diageo angered both consumers and other whiskey producers who were worried that the single malt image would be damaged. Diageo responded to the criticism by agreeing to change the label style and color of their pure malt in order to avoid consumer confusion. Sales of Cardieu pure malt dropped substantially due to the change. And I would also like to say that what we are actually sampling tonight is the Cardieu Gold Reserve Game of Thrones edition. And in the Game of Thrones Classic Malt series, I would like to say that Cardieu represents the House Targaryen. And having mentioned that, I would like to turn it over a little bit to Mikey, who can maybe help us reinforce the connection a little bit there.
Yes. So, excuse me, I am under the weather, so I'm sure you've noticed by now. But if you hear hacking and nose blowing, that's what that is. But anyway, I digress. As Jason mentioned, it's a very matriarchal distillery. It's very tied to the female. It was Helen Cumming
Helen.
And her daughter Elizabeth.
Selling illicit whiskey out the window of the farmhouse.
Exactly, and throwing flour on themselves. So, to relate that to Game of Thrones, you have this house that was all but destroyed. House Targaryen, who was once one of the most, or was the most powerful house in all of Westeros. The ones who rode dragons. I mean, they owned and rode dragons.
And there is indeed on the front of the...
Yes, the three-headed dragon, the house sigil of the Targaryen. But why it relates to the strong female individual is that in the show and in the book series, that house is basically reignited by a female individual by the name of Daenerys Targaryen. So she was the last remaining Targaryen, and she basically, from the fires, brought her house back.
The ashes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and she basically brought this house that was all but destroyed back to the forefront. So
Right.
that just kind of is a nice continuation of the very strong female model in Game of Thrones to the strong. I mean, it makes sense as to why they would pick the Targaryen house to represent Cardieu.
I have to say that as I've done more and more of these histories and actually seen them and then understood, because I know what's going on in Game of Thrones for the most part, except for like more recent stuff or whatever. But
Yeah.
I have an understanding of the basis. The more every time I do one of the histories and see what's going on with the history of that distillery, and then think about what house it represents,
Yeah.
they've done a great job
They really
of
did.
matching.
Oh, absolutely.
The right distillery to the right house.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking the same thing, and it seems like every single one, it's like, how are these all under the same umbrella?
Right.
Because it seems just so perfect, and it also gives you an idea of how much diversity there is in Scotland.
Yeah, they've done a lot. They've obviously done their own research, and
Yeah, which I'd like to point out to all the whiskey snobs, the Scotch snobs on the attic pages that we follow and stuff like that, who are like, this is nothing but a total gimmick. This is just one other ploy to make money.
might be.
Sure, but
It's cool.
if you get into the meat of what they're doing,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
it's pretty inspired.
I mean, they're not just like schlepping. Well, let's just put this with that one, and let's pull
Yeah,
names out of
no,
the hat, and
no,
we're
no.
done. Hey, we're making money.
Yeah,
No, it's they're putting a lot of thought into this, and if you're not looking for the work that they're putting into it, then you're only hurting yourself by.
and obviously these are special editions, and obviously it's only the popularity of the television show, or well, it's not really. You can call it a television show. I don't even know what you call it. The series.
Cable series.
Cable series. It's only since then that this is. I mean, it's obviously due to that popularity. So you're not gonna get an 18-year
Right.
because it hasn't even been a thing for that long. I mean, the books obviously, but not the series. So they're special blends, and you're definitely kind of getting something unique. Like when we've had the Game of Thrones whiskeys, I could tell that they weren't exactly the regular old blend.
Right.
This is something that's pretty unique.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing.
No,
Who
it's
doesn't
cool.
like diversity in their whiskey?
Right.
And unfortunately, from what I'm gathering and coming to understand, I don't know that we're going to ever see the remaining 4 bottles,
Oh,
which
whoa.
kind of break my heart.
Yeah, I thought I
I
tried.
tried calling all over the immediate, and when I say immediate, like I called Ligonier to see, because the website said that they had a bottle of the Oban, and I would have drove out to Ligonier to go
Right.
get it, and they're like, nope, we don't have it.
So if you're listening from anywhere in the world, and you
Send
have-
'em.
Which ones are we missing?
We are missing.
If you
Yeah.
have hands on any of the following: a House Tyrell Clonelish.
Yep.
House Baratheon, Royal Lochnagar. House Greyjoy. No, we had the Greyjoy.
No.
I had the Greyjoy.
The Night Watch Oban. Is that it?
No,
Yeah.
we haven't had Greyjoy.
I thought we did.
No, we
we
had
just had your
Talisker
Talisker.
last week. We didn't have.
Oh, we had Talisker. We didn't have the Greyjoy.
Right,
Right,
yeah.
right.
So Tyrell, Baratheon, Greyjoy, and the Night's Watch.
Yeah, we have had the Lagavulin and the Singleton, now the Cardew and the Dalmatian.
Well, that would really suck to have to drink some more Talisker.
Sure, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I even posted
I'll
on
suffer
like
for
the Scotch Addict page. I was like, if anyone has the sleeves and the empty bottles that
Yeah.
you're just going to throw away,
Right.
I will buy them from you so I have them. You know,
Yeah.
I wanted to collect this set to have
Yeah.
the set.
Yeah.
You know, and I could care. Well, of course I care.
It's
about
better
the
to
whiskey.
drink
Sure.
the set. Yeah.
But you know, if worse comes to worse, and I can't actually obtain the whiskeys, like I still want the tubes.
you know, there's that dude out there that's not even opening the bottles.
I know.
Oh yeah,
I'll get a hold of my buddy in California because there's a lot more.
Right. Right.
quality.
Well, yeah,
Stores
and,
out there.
Yeah, you can throw a stone and find a liquor store. So we'll
Right.
see if we can't track them down out there and I'll
Yeah.
the shipping.
Yeah, that'd be great. But so yeah, for those again, just they did put a lot of thought into this. They did put a lot of work into it. If you can't find the connections between them, that's your fault, not theirs.
Right.
So,
Right.
I'm excited. Can we pop
All
that?
right, yeah, let's do it. Give me a
It's
glass.
like a concept album for whiskey.
Ooh.
All right.
And I'm kind of excited because I have no idea what to expect with this.
Expect a space item, sure. It's light.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a nose of it already. Yeah.
Wow, that is very light.
Thanks, buddy.
I mean, just basing it from the nose, I would say that this is already a J whiskey.
I was going to say earlier, it is a woman's whiskey. Love you, buddy.
Oh, I wish I could smell anything. It's got nose of mucus.
Wow. That's sort of refreshing. He didn't like it.
I don't know. It's weird.
It is.
It is.
I almost want to say I had a taste of grape in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I definitely had
Yeah.
some citrus smell in the nose, but it was just like, wait a minute. In the finish,
I could taste the grape.
yeah,
There's
Yeah.
definitely some grapage.
it almost had a
Weird, 'cause
wine
I
quality.
Can't
Yeah.
taste anything.
It does taste a lot like a wine. I was going to say earlier, it's kind of like a wine cooler for whiskey.
Yeah, that would be a
You sure this isn't Bartles and James?
Let's check it.
Yeah.
Bartles and James.
Wow,
I don't not like it, but it's
it is way different.
yeah.
But you're right, it's not.
I mean, I don't know that I'd honestly ever. If the rest of Cardew is sort of similar to this, I don't know that I'd ever
I think it. Yeah, it's pretty close.
go down that avenue. Not because I don't like it, just because.
I'm liking the grape.
Yeah, I mean
It's definitely it's unique compared to the other four,
Super
or the
unique.
other three that we've tried. If you include the Talisker, the other four,
And it's an old recipe. I mean, I guess this goes back to 1811. You know,
Huh.
I mean, that's.
Well, if it's that old of a recipe, I guess we can actually taste the flour from whatever
Right.
the police would
Right.
come by. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely different. It's not bad.
I definitely want to try another bottle in their line.
Yeah.
Oh, do we got any
I find it somewhat refreshing.
water in there yet?
I mean, it's definitely not your average Scotch.
No. It's definitely a little more space-sidey. I mean, it's definitely got some of those characteristics. It's got some softness to it.
Yes, almost a rye sweetness there in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For a single malt, that's strange.
It's like rye and grapes.
Yeah.
I'm not getting much of the heaviness of a rye.
Just
It's
a
not-
there's
It's
a
a
hint.
very hint.
sweet.
Yeah.
There's a hint right.
Actually,
in the middle.
I didn't taste the rye before, but as soon as I dipped the
It's
water
right in
in
the
it,
middle.
it really brings the rye out.
I'm gonna put a little water in, although I don't think that's necessarily a good idea because I think it's already pretty light and
Mm,
soft.
I just
Like
wanted
the
to
rye-
see what it would do, not because I felt it needed watered down.
Yeah.
I wanted to see how it would change the taste. I don't know. It's peculiar. Which, oddly enough, how everyone thought that the Singleton, the House Tully, was going to be a good J whiskey for me, and I really didn't care for it. Out of the two, I would take this.
This
The
has
Cardew.
this is a little more unique character.
Mm-hmm. I said it's not bad. It's just different,
Adding the
but it's
water
not
to
necessarily a different that I.
adding the water to it actually took a little of the complexity away and sort of just
It did flatten it out.
flatten it out.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna add any to this.
Don't.
No.
This is definitely a whiskey that does not enjoy
Mm-mm.
that. Yeah, way better pre-water.
You guys ready to give it a rating?
I'm still thinking. I'm confused by this one.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not
different.
bad.
It's not bad.
In
wouldn't-
fact, in some ways, it's very good.
It
I was
wouldn't be
going
a
to hit a
go-to.
butterscotch on that one too. On that taste.
Little Werther's.
Yeah.
It's definitely not in a go-to category, but if I
No,
saw it on
yeah.
a bar shelf, I would order it.
81.
All right. Hold on here. Let me get my utensil. 81.
I can give it my rating, but I want to put an asterisk.
It does deserve an asterisk.
Well, for many reasons, but first being that I'm sick, so I would like to try it whenever I have a full palate that I can actually
Yeah, that's true.
taste all the complexity to it, because I can tell there is a complexity to it, but I'm only getting the strongest flavors out of it, and so like Al mentioned, the grape, I can taste the grape, but I'm not getting subtle complexities out of it at all. So it's only hitting me with one note, whereas I can tell in my tongue that there's complexity to it. It just doesn't, and that's just 100% because I'm sick. That has nothing to do with the scotch itself. So that being said, I think I would give it around an 80, but I'd like to revisit it whenever I'm feeling better to see if I can't up that grade.
So that's what I was going to give.
It's-
I still will an 80.
80?
It's. I mean, I love the surprise. I've never had any scotch that had a grape flavor to it.
I think if it were a chord, it would be a G major 7.
Okay.
Just saying that.
It wouldn't be an arpeggio.
I'm pulling it down.
You could. Okay.
Not because it's bad, but just because it's not one. It wouldn't be my go-to. I wouldn't recommend. Well, I would recommend this, but it wouldn't be a. This would be the
Yeah.
recommendation.
Try something different. Recommendation.
Yeah, I'm going with 75.
Wow.
Did you guess that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that on the money.
79.
So 79 out of 100. Do we give it stars?
Yeah.
Yes, it's definitely drinkable.
Give it a star.
Yes.
Yes, I'll give it a star.
I mean, like I said, I will too. It's not that I don't like it. It's just.
The 79's passing, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Right.
And do we solidly recommend this, or is this
You should try it.
this is the Shure or
I
the
think you
Yes?
should
It's
try
unique. It's definitely unique.
Yes.
I think if you're looking for something new, I would definitely give it a shot.
And for $40, it's not breaking the bank as far as
No.
now. This particular one is. I don't know what
Right.
a regular
I
bottle.
Can
don't
you
actually
find
know.
Cardew on the shelves out here? Is that one?
I don't
seeing it,
know.
but I don't remember looking for it.
You see, that's the same
Yeah,
thing.
definitely
Like,
don't
I'd have
like
to
all the
actually
water,
go
though.
back and look. Like I know down at the small one, it's not there.
Yeah,
I know
well,
for
they
a
have
fact
nothing
because
there.
I was there today.
They got nothing.
Yeah, but their stock is going to be super low for a while until they change location.
Oh, where's
no,
it
the
moving?
big
Oh.
but
Oh.
the big one I don't know. I'd have to
Where
go
are they
look.
moving to? Down at the end of the plaza.
Yeah.
Are they officially moving?
Soon. Yeah.
They're going to move back down to where they were.
Yeah.
Okay. So 79 and 100, 4 out of 4 stars. We do recommend it. It's not bad. If you
Rick
get,
Ward says a G major 7 is more than a 79. I'll agree with that, Rick.
Well, it's not an F major 7 sharp 11 by any stretch of the
I
meaning.
don't know what that means. All right, let's move into the discussion topics for this evening. We were kind of scrambling around today, I'm not going to lie, but we did come up with some things that we hope you'll find interesting to talk about or discuss amongst yourself.
Cardu 12, just to interject, I mean, to derail you.
Sure,
'cause
fine.
That's what we do around
Absolutely.
Yeah.
here. It seems that a regular Cardu 12 single malt goes for between 55 and $60 based on internet snooping.
Okay.
So-
However, to also add to that, their fine wine and good spirit stores only carried this Cardu.
Really?
Huh.
Yes, just the Game of Thrones edition.
Oh,
And
Interesting.
well, actually, wait, that was in store. Let me go
it's
back
Our last chance. to get
online.
it.
But
And nope, that's it. That's that
interesting. So, the first discussion topic is Al printed off some interesting facts here. There's 100 of them. We're not going to go through all 100, obviously, but I told him to pick a few of his favorites.
fact number 1 is tell Mr. Works. Yes, I do know.
You can tell him. I don't know.
Yes, Rick Works, I do know.
I speak for the trees, not you.
Now we just researched some real quick facts. This was from worldofwhiskeyday.com. So if you want to go and look up all 100 facts, you can.
And if you remember, Jason and I did a video for World Whiskey Day
We did.
last year.
We did.
You did?
Yeah.
I missed that one.
It was very, very small. It was
Very
just
brief.
A little video,
Oh,
little
I'll have to-
YouTuber video.
I'll have to go back and research that. That was on www.youtube.com.
Backslash.
When's that whiskey?
Some of these are pretty, boring. Okay, Scottish Parliament first tax whiskey in 1644.
That's
But
incredible.
That is okay. They got
Whoa.
100 stats, and some of these are
but
really
seriously,
dry.
think about that.
1644.
That's her. That's a while
Except for
ago.
the people, some lady sticking her hand out the window and saying, "Hey, come buy my whiskey." Out of her.
Now
Yeah.
we know that taxation is theft,
It
But-
is, but if you don't want the bridge to fall down on your head.
but come on, there were bridges before there were taxes.
Oh, I don't remember that. I just remember that
Well,
somebody,
okay.
just pounding his head and saying, "You English
So
niggas."
Al-
That's all I
Al's-
remember.
Al's a werewolf, not a werewolf.
Right, exactly.
Oh, okay. I don't get that either.
Well, werewolves, not swearwolves.
Okay, here's two. Kentucky is home to more barrels of maturing bourbon than people. Now, there's
All right.
We have our name on.
yes, and by the way, yes,
We do.
Wednesday Night Whiskey and many of the Patreons and friends of Wednesday Night Whiskey have their names on one of the barrels.
Barrel. We got 2 barrels.
There's more than 2. But however, the population.
Whoa, we got a badass over here.
No, there's more than 2. I thought
Yeah,
that
yeah, but
Ryan was on
Oh,
one.
do we?
Yeah.
He's on one. My dad's on
Yeah,
one.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
on
I
a
was gonna say,
different
I
one.
knew
Yeah.
that there was at
See?
least 2. Okay, I did. Okay.
Come on, you got the Shazam shirt on. Get with it.
It's the
It's
Flash.
Shazam.
It's not the Shazam.
Flash? Wasn't that canceled?
No, that's DC.
No,
Wasn't DC canceled?
wasn't DC canceled?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, so the population of Scotland has 5.3 million people, and more than 20 million barrels of whiskey are in store there. So that means there's almost 4 casks of whiskey per citizen in Scotland.
That's badass.
That's a statistic right
All
there.
right.
That's a good statistic. That is a good.
So your metal's worth at least 4 barrels of whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
As
That's nice.
most people know, or maybe don't know, Frank Sinatra, huge Jack Daniels drinker.
Count for days.
Yeah,
He did it his way. I'll
He-
tell you
he-
that.
and it actually, he went so far as actually had a Jack Daniels club down in Florida, from what I read, and only his friends were permitted in it. But he was buried with a bottle of Jack Daniels. Good thing, bad thing. I mean, it was Frank. He did it his way. So
Yeah.
Bad thing is that it didn't get any better.
I took a sip of Jack Daniels the other day and instantly regretted it. That's a fact for you.
number 7, yes, you are
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
I've been told that the higher end lines are like most.
Actually, Harold Hayford turned me on to some fantastic vintage of Jack Daniels that I wish I could remember what it was. I'll have to find out. I would recommend that, but this
Yeah,
was not
that's
that.
that's what I've been told is that if you get away from the old number 7,
Right.
you'll do yourselves a world of good. The design of the Glenfiddich bottle, the triangular shape. Any clues?
Yeah, they molded it off my hand.
Yes, and it's very. I remember in a past episode you really liked
Very
that.
ergonomic.
Very ergonomic. But however, that wasn't it.
I thought it was so it wouldn't roll off your Subaru.
It wouldn't roll off your Highland.
Actually, that's this list over here. The 10 things you didn't know about Tin Cup
There
whiskey.
it is.
Wow.
Yeah, I have another list.
I'm actually more interested in that one.
Oh, well, we'll jump over there then. But to finish this thought, the 3 pillars of whiskey making are air, water, and barley.
and
The 3
sides.
sides,
And the
to the
fourth,
Glenfiddich.
the fourth pillar is my hand.
and the 5th is the mouth.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's why they call.
bottle.
That's why. That's why they call.
it's a
them.
5th.
That's what.
Ah!
That's why they call them fifths. That's an unknown whiskey fact.
It's probably in here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like we've just stepped into fake facts.
Mountain Dew was originally meant to be a whiskey chaser.
Yes, that's
Really?
Yeah,
That's the first time I heard that.
yeah.
Back to the Whiskey Rebellion in Pennsylvania in 1794. Due to whiskey taxation, the tax was eventually repealed in 1802.
We, as listeners of the show, they should know that.
And that's a test. If you didn't know that, that's it. Yeah, some of these we're not. Maybe we should just skip and we'll just go over to some of the fun facts about Tin Cup.
Read one more.
One more?
Some
Okay.
random deep number.
Pick
How
a
many
number.
is there?
Between 1 and 100.
There's 100?
100. Somebody-
69.
60. All right.
That's hilarious.
Number 69 is. Oh, geez. George Washington.
Back to that
Washington.
guy.
Yeah.
Washington.
Washington was the only founding father to commercially operate a distill.
This ties into the last fact.
Yes,
by
it
the way.
does. It was one of the biggest distilleries at the time, but unfortunately destroyed by a fire a few years after opening.
Yeah.
True fact.
Well, here's one for you. Number 19.
Number 19.
Oops, that's 28.
You got 19.
The co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, Bill Wilson, demanded whiskey on his deathbed, but was refused it.
Those bastards.
I know.
Let's find where Bill's buried at.
Let's
Let's
go
pour
get
a
it.
dram on.
Well,
it.
well, I guess we can right now. We can cheer. We can have a toast for Bill.
We really can't because I need some more. We
Oh.
also got to get them Patreon members.
Oh yeah.
Man, that's why we're down to 1 viewer all of a sudden.
Yeah, they
Oh.
didn't mention us.
All right. So before Al jumps into the 10 whiskey facts of Tin Cup, or is that what you got there?
Yeah, I got these.
Okay.
We can hit those.
Real quick, let's go back. Let's backpedal here. Drop back and punt. We got our Patreon members. Scotty Knoll. We've got Rick Words. We got Ryan Weaver. We have Mario Ciccarella. We have Shannon Hoffman. And we have the Cosmic Roadshow, which is the most special one because Mikey slung that one from a hospital bed.
He
See
did.
that?
He did.
So cheers.
Cheers.
Slancha, this one's for you.
To all our Patreon members, we love you.
Stuff. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The patron member toast always tastes best, doesn't it?
It does.
It would taste better.
It could taste
It
better.
could taste much
It
better.
could taste a little better.
With one more Patreon.
Hey,
added
do you
to
know
it.
anything about Tin Cup whiskey?
You know, I heard about this whiskey called Tin Cup,
Okay.
I
and
think the Wednesday Night Whiskey Committee shot a video about it once.
yes, they did. It was. I was there for that even. It was.
Well,
Yeah,
famous.
I know. I was producer that day. Well, sort of. He just told me what to do, and I did.
Yeah, and you did.
Okay, so number 1, it was founded by Jess Grabber, the founder.
We knew that.
Yeah, that one's right on the side of the whiskey. 2, it comes from mining traditions.
We knew that.
Tin Cup. I mean, come on now. That's all the silverware, all the plateware. It was all tin. That's what they had. Every movie showed that for 100 years. It's mountain whiskey. The whiskey is produced by Tin Cup. The company is described as mountain whiskey. This is because it is made in the mountains using spring water from the mountains.
Of Indiana.
from yes, the mountain of Indiana. It's a coal. It's a bony polyp.
Right.
But but it goes through that coal and it's filtered.
But it's shit.
chill filter.
Yes, it does.
Number 4, the bottle cap is usable. It makes
We've
a
done
great,
that.
and you got a great shot glass collection. Every time you get another tin cup and you finish it, you got it.
We've done that.
Yes. Now number 5, I'm debating. We actually have a video.
We've tested it.
The hexagonal bottle shape designed for the outdoors. I'm sorry,
we
tin
have
cup.
debunked it.
Yeah.
We'll roll.
Now here's a question:
Yeah.
Did you guys did you like chuck it, or did you just let it casually?
We
roll?
may have used a little bit more force, but
There may have been 5 shots to actually get it down the hill.
Okay.
however, that was on a slow
it was a
very-
gradual.
gradual
yeah.
slope.
It was actually at
If it's actually, I think if you actually dropped it on
If
the
you were in
face of the
Colorado,
mountain,
yeah.
it's gonna go regardless.
Yeah.
Okay.
and it's made out of glass. I mean, the Rocky Mountains are what, rock? Yeah.
It should have pontoons on the outside
Yeah.
of it.
I heard that the Rockies have a little bit of Chris Myers in every glass.
I don't get that, but I think it's
He took a squirt in the river
Ah.
outside the
But
the Coors factory.
that's what makes
And he's proud of that too. He's like, "You like that? Yep, a little bit of meat."
he's going, hey Adolf, good job. Yeah.
Taste of the Rockies.
Number 6, the company has set up a tracking venture. This I did not know about. As part of a marketing campaign similar to the marketing campaign I talked about last week, where Canadian Club went and buried all those cases around the world. Tin Cup put GPS-enabled trackers in the bottles. The company reached 2,000 trackable tin cups at various locations around the globe for their customers to find using geocaching.
No way.
Yes, sir. That one was a very cool fact. So,
If you're really desperate, you can usually just go down to the liquor store and they
Fine,
have it
no one
there.
can-
this
find a
is
whole
true,
bunch
but
of
no.
them.
Well, I think this is just that you're not actually looking for the case of whiskey. You're just finding the tin cup that has a geocache,
Yeah.
code attached to it.
Yeah.
So if you were out in the woods in that particular area, you could go and research and
Sure.
look what I found and rebury it after you're
That'd be
done.
pretty.
But it is,
No.
that's interesting.
Reburied it.
Well,
Empty.
I don't do that, but I think that's
That would
part
be
of the
cruel.
game is you
To
find
take
it
and
put it
drink
back.
it and then put it back, and then somebody else finds it. And they're like,
Well, what
"You
if
bastards."
Chris was there and he would then take it and then piss
He
in it?
could fill it back
Yeah.
up.
That wouldn't be such a good thing. There are 3 main ingredients. Number 7, 3 main ingredients in tin cup whiskey, and those are corn, rye, and malted barley.
We talked about that when we had the episode.
Yeah, it's actually a blend, a Scotch, a single malt Scotch, and the whiskey.
No,
Yes? No?
No.
Oh, I thought there was.
no.
You sure?
There's no single malt scotch in it.
I thought I read that in another page. The 3 main ingredients. Oh, there we go. It is a blend of 2 whiskeys, says number 9.
Okay.
The first is a high rye bourbon that is aged. Well, it's not a Scotch because it's
Right.
not made here. Okay. The second is a single malt whiskey. It's created in Colorado.
The
So it's
student
not a
tried to
Scotch.
school the professor.
That's right.
Didn't work so well.
So I stand corrected. That's why I'm only a reverend. I'm not a professor. I'll say a penance later.
And
on for that.
the single malt is really good.
You've had it by itself?
Yeah.
I think we can get the 10-year on the show too, so we'll try that.
Yeah.
It is aged for at least 4 years. Didn't know that. I thought it was only 2 years, but the original tin cup is aged for 4 years.
That's a fine whiskey for 4 years.
Yeah, it is
It is.
for its price, and yeah. Number 10 is the spicy bourbon with complex. It is a spicy bourbon with complex flavors.
We knew that.
Yeah, and it does. I mean, the sweetness, the cinnamon, the orange, the pepper, and the vanilla. They're also claiming are in there. I got the pepper. I didn't get so much the cinnamon. But
I think we're gonna have to reconsult it and find out.
I think we're gonna have to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, we should. Cool. I like facts.
I like facts.
I like fake
Fun.
facts.
I like all
Fake
kinds of facts. Fake,
Got
real.
some random topic generators.
Well,
A random topic.
I want to. If we have some time, we can do that for sure. But I want to get to Rick's suggestion here. He gave this to us today. In the way that he asked the question was, he goes, "You know what you guys should talk about?" And I said, "What's that?" And he goes, "Well, you and I have talked about this before." And I said, "When you listen to music, how do you listen to music? Not like, in my home in my chair, but like when you get a song, what do you pinpoint first that says I like the song?" Because for me, he pointed out, he goes, "You're a lyric listener." He goes, "You connect to lyrics very closely." He goes, and for him, he barely listens to the lyrics at all. He has to be hooked by the music, and then he'll go back and listen to the words. And then if the words are good, he says, like, i.e. Joni Mitchell, he will go back and read her words like poetry.
Mm-hmm. Even without the music.
Without the music, right. So that's what he wanted us to
Chad is disconnected?
Jay was having trouble with the chat too, Rick. Are you still seeing us and hearing us? If not, we'll if I don't hear from you in a few minutes, I'll reset the stream.
Yeah. Chris Myers reset the stream once.
No, I just answered.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, okay. Yeah, for whatever reason, on my computer, the chat room's not working, but it is still, we're seeing it on a different computer,
Yeah,
so
I
you're
can
okay.
still see what you're saying.
But yeah, so that was his question to us, just a kind of a discussion, like how when we all collectively listen to music, what are we listening for, I guess. And I thought, all right,
That's a good.
yeah.
Well, he kind of already segued you, so why don't you start us off?
See, I'm weird. I know Rick said like I'm more of a lyrical guy, and I suppose to some extent I am.
Coheed and Cambria.
Yeah. There's a lot of, but at the same time, a band like that, I mean, they have amazing musicians, and they can tell a story with just the music as well as the song. But like, yeah, I'm very, very lyric oriented, concept oriented. Even if I don't like something, I will listen to it if there's some kind of grand scheme that goes along with it, at least once. And then if I like it, I'll definitely listen to it again. But there's a lot of prime example. My homeboy, my man crush, I want to have his babies, Brian Fallon. That I've listened to, the man has never wrote a bad song, in my opinion. Like, I can listen to every album front to back and not feel the need to hurry up and skip and go to another track. But for him, like, you could mute the music for that. I don't care I'm listening to what he's saying. So for like that aspect, yeah, I'm really into the, but there's other, who I'm amazingly attached to is Corey Taylor from Slipknot, who, yeah, they've wrote a few bones that I'm like, hey, skip, because I don't know what about it. It's not jiving with me, whether it's both a lyrical mishap and then a music at the same time, or I've never, like, I like that song, but maybe it is all lyric for me. Like, if I don't like the message or whatever, maybe the rest of it doesn't fall in the line for me, but at the same time, like, Rick can put on funk, and I'm like, I don't know what those words are, but I can sure get down to the to the funk.
You can get down on it.
So yeah, I guess for me, I'm more lyrical than musical, but I listen to a lot of stuff that's fantastic musical wise too. So I don't know.
I'm pretty much almost 180 degrees opposite. Like, the first time I listened to something, you could be reading the phone book. I don't even know. I don't care. I don't listen to lyrics mostly. A lot of the lyrics, a lot of the songs that
We'll get there.
We'll get there. We'll get there in the chat room.
I don't know what's up.
I don't. Yeah,
I can't read that.
we
I
might
don't think
totally blow this E rating right off the charts.
Oh.
No, I'm totally a music listener at first. that doesn't mean I don't pay attention to lyrics ever. I mean, I certainly
Sure.
after a while, but the first, what's that?
No, it's,
Oh.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah,
first time that I usually listen to a song, it's almost entirely 100% what's the musical content.
Mhm.
And then I'll go back and listen to the lyrics afterwards. And a lot of times I will like them, but I don't necessarily have to like the lyrics.
Now, and I know the answer to this question, which kind of makes it more interesting for this topic. Being a person who, like myself, who writes songs, and you also write the lyrics for Black Sun,
Yeah,
although you don't perform them, but you write them.
right. I do the world a favor. Let somebody else do that.
Right. So for me as a listener, like that's important because I want to, if I can learn something in the songwriting craft of, okay, well that was a brilliant rhyme or that
Mhm.
kind of structure, that's interesting. So it's interesting for me to hear you say, yeah, I'm totally music, but you also write lyrics. So
Well, I also read a lot of poetry and read a lot of like
sure.
skaldic verse and stuff like that. So of course that has meaning to me, but I don't know. I mean, when I listen to a song, half the music I listen to is instrumental, and the other half has
Is intelligible.
unintelligible lyrics, anyways. So, but see what that's something that I really like about, say, black metal. The fact that their approach vocally is not meant to be. It's meant to be literally. If you listen to it, the vocals are usually mixed lower
Mm-hmm.
in the track, and a lot of black metal vocalists have said like the idea there is they don't want to be at the forefront. They almost want to be another instrument, just providing like some kind of ambient texture to it more than the
I
words.
completely understand that. I that's how I break down Rammstein for me.
Right.
So it's like
Because I don't understand the language fluently. I mean, of course, over the years I've picked up key phrases and words,
right.
but for me, Till's guttural kind
Yeah.
of timbre and everything is just another part of the music for me.
And that's what they're shooting for. It's weird though. I'm gonna sort of go off track of where this conversation is right now too, though. And I'll tell you something that I've sort of noticed that's a lot different than the way other people listen to music in general. I've had like it's really good, but I most of the time can't help myself. Every time I hear a song, I do not listen to it. Like this analytical thing kicks in as soon. Like
Mhm.
if you play me a new song, like I'm not listening to it as much as I'm dissecting it right away.
Right.
I'm analyzing it. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'm trying to and so in a way, I can't do that as easily if I'm paying too much attention to what the words are.
Sure.
That's why I go back and listen to the lyrics afterwards.
Right.
My first listen is almost always like, oh, what's going on? What kind of chord progression is that? Is that some kind of weird dissonant? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Structure, songwriting structure, stuff like that. That's always takes most precedence for me. The words would be a distraction from that. After I get that about the song, after I dissected it and know what's going on, that's when I start paying attention to what's going on lyrically.
Yeah, that that kind of ties into how what I was gonna say, which is if we're talking about listening to something for the first time, I always have and I always will approach music like it's a dance almost. But I always want to see the steps as they're playing
Right.
out. So if I'm listening to a song for the first time, I almost want to be able to anticipate where it's going to go. So I'll notice myself listening to a song for the first time and really enjoying things that I'm not expecting.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I'm listening to a song and there's a very simple chord progression and then they automatically slip to a minor or jump to a major that I'm not expecting, I'll like make a mental note of that and be like, this is something special. Where if it's super predictable, like most pop music is,
Mhm.
I can't latch onto that because it's just a dance that I've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
So I always like finding these nuances in music that is something that I'm not expecting. And that's why I really enjoy prog music.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Sure.
prog music,
Yeah.
they're throwing a surprise at you every turn. And like you guys were mentioning about lyrics, I am a sucker for a good lyric, but that's always an afterthought for me.
Mhm.
Like when I'm listening to an album for the first time, I'm sure that I've heard of the band. If I haven't, then it's even more exciting. But I'll know that they have certain
Right.
styles, so I know that as long as I can appreciate the music, I can go back and read the lyrics or listen to the lyrics and appreciate them for what they are. But there's a band called Sigur Rós, and
Yeah.
their singer uses his voice as an instrument. So, like you guys were talking about with Rammstein, I always like to appreciate the vocal part of a track as another instrument before I listen to it as a lyrical component. Not to say that I don't, because I'm a sucker for a
Sure,
well-written
yeah.
lyric, but I have to be able to appreciate it as an instrument before I can appreciate it as lyrics. So, like I said, there's this feng shui and there's this dance that I have to be able to appreciate when everything's done, but at the same time, I don't want it to be predictable, and I don't want it to be something that I see everything coming a mile away from when it starts, knowing that, okay, you're going to go from a C to a G to an E, then you're going back to the C. I want to be able to know that, like, okay, you're going to jump and I'm not going to see it coming. Like, that's something that I can automatically latch onto and appreciate. So I think I like being at the edge of my seat whenever I'm listening to music for the first time.
Yeah, as far as which do I pick out, it would definitely be the music itself and not the lyrics. And I'll use Rush as the example. When they go to write their songs, you have the two sides of the band. You have the lyrics that come in, and then the music gets put around it. But it's still, whenever I would hear one of the new albums that would come out, it was always the music itself that grabbed me first. Even though the songs were always written, I do believe, lyrics first and then the music.
Yeah,
added.
lyrics first, music second.
Yes, I mean it's sort of a backwards completion theory for my mind. I guess it always had to be the music first. Then I'll go back and I'll learn the lyrics.
What do you do when you write? Lyrics or music first?
I have lyrics first. I have no, and I actually prefer it that way because a lot of times I find myself when I'm writing a song, I have a particular melody in mind that I have stolen somewhere else.
Yeah.
Prime example, one of my original songs called "Weeks or Months." When I wrote that song, I had the Horrible Crows' "Behold the Hurricane" in my head. And when I wrote the lyrics, I actually wrote lyrics to that melody.
Mm-hmm.
So what I like to do is I like to write the words, forget that I've wrote them, and then when I go back and visit those words again several weeks or months later, I have no idea what the melody was anymore. So then I have to try to write around it.
Right.
And it's not that it's I do that specifically so I'm not plagiarizing somebody, but that way it forces me to be creative, side-handedly creative, because now I don't remember why I wrote the song that way.
See, I've done both. I've written lyrics and then matched music to the lyrics, and I've written music and then matched the lyrics to that intentionally right there in a song. But I'll also tend to do something where I write batches of lyrics, and they're just batches of lyrics, and then I tend to write music. And whenever I don't intentionally necessarily write this lyric to go with this music, but what sometimes happens too is I'll write something and say like, this batch of lyrics that I wrote 6 months ago, I didn't intend it to go with this music, but it fits.
It fits.
Yeah.
I've done that before too, where I've sat down with something that I have wrote musically and just flip through the page going, I could fit that here.
Yeah.
I could fit that song here.
Yeah.
And then I just do a lot of, I'll make it work.
See, a lot of times though, and this is a weird thing, mostly when I write music, there's some kind of concept I'm drawing on. Maybe not a musical concept. It's just some kind of concept. So a lot of times that has to inform whatever lyrics end up in that song. There's a connection conceptually too.
And a lot of the times too, like Johnny Stevens, a good friend of mine, friend of ours, he said to me, he's like, whenever I see you write lyrics, because I actually showed Johnny a lot of my lyrics. I'm like, hey, what do you think of this? And he's like, yeah, man, I think you've got something good there. He's like, maybe work on that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because that boy can pump out song after song after song. He can write 3 songs a day.
Yeah.
And I can't, and it drives me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But like I've shown him stuff, and he's like, "Yeah," he goes, "That's a good," because that's good words there.
Yeah.
So in that instance, where like I don't understand how sometimes he'll be like, "Okay, what's your melody?" And I'm like, "I don't have one. I wrote the lyrics in a melody, and then and I hate just to sit down and go, there's my
Right.
chords."
Right.
I like to think that I can come up with something a little more than just following the pattern that I wrote, but more often than not, like, and I'll be the first to admit, like, my guitar playing skills and stuff is mediocre.
Mad.
Yeah, sure. Is very basic and rudimentary. I do it well, but I'm a strummer. I'm a cowboy quarter. I don't, can I write a weird riff every once in a while? Sure, it's happened.
I've seen you do it.
But that's not what I'm good at. I have to really work for that. What I am good at is I can just plop these 3 or 4 chords together and just weave and go. I'm quick when it comes to learning other material or somebody else's material, but when it comes to mine, like, I have to sit there and fight with it. And at the end of the day, I look at the song and go, "Wow, that really is simple," but I fought with that thing for so long.
That makes it good though. Fighting with it.
Sometimes.
It does. It does, dude. Fighting with it makes it good. I think we've kind of gone more into songwriting than listening
veered
to
off
music.
topic.
But I mean, I can't separate the two.
Yeah.
Because whenever I'm listening to a song, I'm being influenced in some way in some writing.
Right. Which is
Yeah.
kind of funny when you were describing your experience of how you separate the vocalist as an instrument first, and then blend lyrics later. The image I got in my brain was defragging in the system. How you see all these parts in one thing, and then they kind of condense it down into like, okay, now here's the final. This is what the whole thing is. Yeah, so it's interesting. We should all pick songs sometime, and if we could get away with the copyright, and listen to, like, okay, why do you like this? Well, I don't. Why?
Right.
Do you like this? Yeah. Why do you like it? Because I don't.
Yeah.
Why
do I like it? Just because Jay does.
Yeah,
it.
that's it.
Well, I've said that a
Not
bunch
a
of
Jay
times
whiskey.
before.
Okay.
Like, and I guess this is kind of in the same topic. Like, there are certain bands that I love and adore, and I can listen to all day long. One of my prime examples is The Devil Wears Prada. Like, I absolutely love that band and everything that they've done. Maybe except for the first record, it was a little rough. But everything else is just kind of like, I can listen to this all day. And if you were to hand me another band who had the exact same style and format, I go, I don't like that. That's garbage.
Yeah.
And it's like, why does this one make a difference and this one doesn't?
Yeah.
At that point, I think it's Sonic. Like, this is more pleasing to me than...
Well, a band's sound is a big thing, man. Yeah.
But there's been a lot of times where I've heard bands that sound like 100 bands that sound just like Asking Alexandria. And not that I'm a big fan of them now, but their early stuff, I love that. Give me more.
Yeah.
But you give me another band that sounds just like it, I don't know.
But I think music is a lot like food.
Sure.
I mean, you can't just eat a citrus and be like, oh, okay, well, I like that because it's citrus. No, every citrus has a different flavor profile. Every meal has a different flavor profile. Just because you had a burger over here doesn't mean it's the same burger you had at McDonald's.
That's a really good point.
So I think even though you're hearing something that's the same genre, even the same patterns, it doesn't matter. It's all going to have its own fingerprint.
That's why musicians freak out about tone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've often thought...
There's a show topic. Tonight we're going to talk about
tone.
Strap in.
You can play the wrong notes with good tone.
Talking with 3 musicians, and I'm just the sound man sitting over here. Yeah, but I got the suck knob, so.
Yeah. I mean, you can play some pretty boring shit with great tone, and people will I will like it.
Sure can.
You can play some fantastic shit with horrible tone, and I won't. You can be Yngwie Malmsteen.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude's fantastic. Don't listen to him at all because I can't handle his tone.
It's over processed, thin.
Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I listen to music, that's another factor that we should bring up.
That awkward pause was brought to you by Cardu.
When you bring up how do you listen to music, it's not just about the lyrics. It's not just about the song structure. The sound of it,
Yeah.
the sonic quality, the timbre is a huge factor.
I don't know that I've ever, if I've ever listened to a song that said, I really like the way that song sounds.
Really?
But I can break that into two categories, like Van Halen.
Yeah.
Do I love and can I listen to Van Halen's music all day? Absolutely.
Yeah.
You'd have to shut off David Lee Roth there. I couldn't stand it.
And is it just the sound of his voice?
It's everything about David Lee Roth. His voice, his mannerisms, the way that he phrased those things, and that stupid thing that he does.
That was a
But
good
that was
one.
an '80s thing. Everybody.
I don't like it.
That was Dr. Roxo right there.
Dr. Roxo, the rock and roll clown.
Yeah. See, that's interesting because you bring up Van Halen. I was talking to Rick about this the other day. And he put a piece of music on. My brain is defragging it.
Mhm.
You know, Van Halen come from a planet so far away, further than Pluto, to the way that I approach making music.
Mhm.
That as soon as Van Halen plays, it's really weird. It's one of the first times I really get like a listener experience. It's just so far away from the way that I would intuitively sit down and make music that it doesn't even register. Like my brain doesn't try to analyze it. I'm just like, oh, there's music. It's weird that you would bring up Van Halen.
Yeah. And there's a few other bands that do that for me too. Led Zeppelin
Yeah.
is another one who musically, oh my God,
Yeah.
even lyrically,
Oh well, Bobby Plant, man. You know,
I can't stand that man's vocal.
he wore a
I
blouse.
appreciate-
He wore a blouse better than anybody. Does.
Now I appreciate, like I've seen older Led Zeppelin concerts where now his voice is dropped because he's older
Oh yeah, yeah.
and he
yeah.
can't hit those
Yeah.
high notes anymore. That's okay.
Yeah.
I just couldn't stand his voice. And which is also odd because like I like an odd vocalist,
Yeah.
Claudio Sanchez, Geddy Lee.
Yeah.
You know,
No, there's something about Robert Plant. I'm with you on that. I mean, like, but then I think about this factor. Put another vocalist who was around at the time and doing similar things and put that vocalist's voice now over Led Zeppelin, and you're just like, nope. You know what I mean?
Billy Ocean just popped it. It's like no. Okay,
Yeah.
throughout that.
I want to know what would make the Eagles
About
better
70s,
than Mikey.
Nothing. Yeah.
Jackson Brown. That's all it takes.
You think?
It happened. Listen to Take It Easy.
Yeah.
Jackson Brown's Take It Easy. Million times better than the Eagles.
I know,
I know,
this
but
version of that. Huh.
I just can't see you ever.
We'll replace all the members with Jackson Brown.
Right. That would do it.
That's
That
all
would
it
do
takes.
it.
Yeah.
No, Jackson.
Bob Ross on drums.
Jackson Brown, there's a dude that I do listen to the music first because I love Jackson Brown's music.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But there's a dude who can write a lyric, dude.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
You know, I mean, that doesn't escape me.
Right.
You know, like,
Well, and I think it's for different genres too. I mean, like when I was talking about the way that I listen to music, it's going to be thrown out the window when I'm listening to folk music. When I'm listening to
Sure.
a guy in his acoustic guitar,
Yeah.
you've got two components there, so I have to listen to your lyrics because that's
Yeah.
all I've got. Like when I'm listening to Gregory Alan Isakov, I'm going to listen to every word he
Right.
says because I
Right.
mean, while the guitars and the instrumentals are beautiful, it's going to be the same. It's not
Mhm.
going to be when I'm listening to Between the Buried and Me, where I'm listening to Dream Theater, where I'm listening to these bands that have all of their layers and all their concepts wrapped into their instrumentation. It's a brand new experience.
Right.
So that's kind of cool. A lot of. I thought that would have just been like a really cut and dry kind of in and out and done thing, but no,
It's music.
we could keep talking about it.
Never going to be cut and dry. Never going to be done.
Let's do that the Amazon thing real quick because it's real quick, and then I guess we can wrap it up.
You don't want to talk about that.
Oh yeah, I do want to talk about that. Absolutely, Mikey. Let's talk about that.
What is that?
Read the comment.
Shannon left a comment on our YouTube. She said, Mr. Universe there learned a fact about flavoring that is used in some whiskey today. What she is referring to is a podcast we listened to together. Don't remember the name of the podcast. Stuff You Should Know, maybe. But they were talking about the Tamworth Distillery. You guys familiar with the Tamworth Distillery?
Not very.
They're in New Hampshire. They're a New Hampshire distillery, but they have a one of their products, not every whiskey that they produce, but one of them is it's called Eau de Musc is the name of their
So they're musking?
So that begs the question: are you guys familiar with Castoreum? And I assume Jason is, but are the rest of you familiar with
I have
Castoreum?
no idea.
Castoreum is a flavoring that still very rarely,
We talked about this at the store.
sparsely has been used as an artificial flavoring. It's got a very sweet flavor. It used to be used as like a vanilla flavor. So whenever you would find things that have a vanilla flavor, even vanilla flavoring for cooking, most of the time it wasn't actually vanilla. It would say natural flavoring, because these companies don't actually need to put on the labels what Castoreum is, or that Castoreum is the natural flavor. So that being said, Castoreum is the extract from a beaver's anal glands.
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
So yes, that is a flavoring that they have used for centuries, since early Rome.
Who was the first
I-
Roman you think who figured out, like, boy, that extract
That's where I was just about to go.
Well, and that's the thing, and they couldn't narrow it down in the podcast we were listening to about like where it started and who would do that and who's like going through the process of like,
You know what
okay,
it was.
the meat tastes good, but what about the ball? What about the anal
No,
glands?
they were drunk on meat or something or wine, and somebody just ate the ass out of a damn beaver. It's
It
like,
could
wait,
have. Well,
that's sweet.
and another thing that it could have
You
been
see him like
was-
trying to be like, Flavius. No, really, check this out.
No, guys, come here, come here.
Well, here's the thing: animals mark territory.
Yeah,
So, in a beaver's
right.
their musk is going to be a lot sweeter than any others. And back then, you couldn't go to McDonald's
That's
if you were
sweet,
hungry.
sweet beaver musk.
So you might be cooking, you might not know how to rip that beaver apart, and you may end up getting some of that anal gland in your
my
beaver
God.
steak and be like, well, this tastes sweeter than I expected. So
Jesus.
anyway, that brings me to the Tamworth Distillery.
Did you just use the phrase beaver steak?
Yes.
I think
Yes,
you
he did.
They
Yes, he
actually
did.
say that it's like a steak tip. A beaver
Ah.
eating beaver is like eating an entire steak tip. Yeah, beaver
Wow.
steak apparently pretty good.
Huh.
Yeah. Anyway, the Tamworth
Much of a slice of
Distillery
beaver.
uses the beaver musk, the Castoreum, in the flavoring of their whiskey to give it that raspberry, that vanilla flavor in the whiskey itself. And it's still, like I said, it's still being used today as a flavoring.
So saying that it tasted like ass would not be.
Would not.
No.
It's not a bad thing if it's beaver.
if you say it tastes like beaver ass, then it's a compliment.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Interesting.
So what I'm saying is we should have the Ode to Musk whiskey on the
We
show.
should. We should.
All right.
I'm
Yeah,
really
I'll taste
glad
some
she
beaver
brought
ass.
that up.
I can see that
was a
episode
great comment.
57, beaver ass,
Episode 1569.
69.
Beaver ass. All right. Mike, you want to pull up your show notes and?
Is that the only comment that I'm reading? Is the one?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
It's just a short one.
All right. So this is for a Amazon product that was the Wagner 16,999 Swiss Army knife giant.
And they should take a look at this thing.
You need to look it up because
Yeah.
it's the Swiss Army knife to end all Swiss Army knives.
And it's like the size of a dinner plate.
It's got everything from nail clippers to magnifying glasses to screwdrivers, bottle openers. It's got a carabiner in the middle of it for some reason.
So you don't drop
In
it.
case you're stuck on the side of the mountain.
But yeah, it's a heavy duty mother.
There's a beaver ass cleaner on there.
I think
Yeah.
so, actually, right there in the end.
Yeah.
Well, there's a pine cone on it.
So Christy sent this review in 2014. She said, and now I'm going to be 6, so she's going to be a very brassy woman.
All right.
But she says, I received this knife as a gift for my 18th birthday. Wish I'd have known what it was as soon as I touched it. Because I grew a mustache and became a Navy SEAL. My mom fainted and my dad laughed and handed me a beer. And I was born a girl. Minus 2 stars because my breasts were really nice.
That's it.
All right.
That was a fun.
Thanks, Christy. I'll have to check that out. I'm wondering what they go for, actually, because that is a handsome knife.
I can't imagine.
I can find out right
It's
now.
not a pocket knife.
Well, it might be.
Unless
depending on the
I'd
size
like
of
to
your
see
pocket.
your pocket.
If you got Jinko jeans, it might be.
Matt Dybert had Jinko G.
Of course he did.
Well, let's move on to the final episode.
Final episode.
Final
No.
episode.
The final portion of the show, which happens to be one of my favorites. The show, or the the segment that was instituted since the very first episode, except for that one time when I forgot. What are you listening to this week? And basically what we do is we have a Spotify playlist, which you can. What's that like?
It goes for
Price?
about $8,499.99 used like new.
You can buy a McKellen M for that. Wow.
But we have a playlist on Spotify where every week we pick a song and an album from what we're listening to this week. If you were curious and wanted some insight as into our little brains, and it's over 160 songs at this point right now. It'll be four more by the time the evening's over. And I will go first because I was torn this week. I've been listening and going back and listening to so much stuff, but I wanted to end the show on a little higher note for me because it is very humorous. I believe I let Jason listen to it earlier today. I found it yesterday. A friend of mine
You did.
posted a link to it on Facebook of him, the guy performing the song live, what looks to be in a clothing store. I don't know if he's English. I want to say he's English because he's got some kind of dialect, but the artist is Thomas Benjamin Wilde Esquire. The album is called Awkward Encounters While Walking My Dog, and the song is I've No More Fucks to Give.
Awesome.
It's a fantastic little ditty.
It's got good lyrics.
It has amazing lyrics. I mean, and he's very satirical. It's all tongue-in-cheek, but it's sung with like a barbershop style kind of old AM,
Pretty folksy.
folky, old record player kind of. We'll wake him up.
I'm here.
Jason or Mikey's going to hang his brain right on his forehead here in a minute.
Whoa!
Ask him if he's like tapes and CDs.
That's normal, though.
So that's my pick. Thomas Benjamin Wilde Esquire. I have no more fucks to give.
Excellent. I haven't listened to a lot of music this week. However, the last 24 hours, one song is stuck in my head all day long, and I kept on repeating it. It happens to be from the King of Pop, Michael Jackson, Smooth Criminal.
Nice.
It is just repeating over and over, and I'm going to leave it go. The voices in my head really seem to enjoy it.
What's the same album title?
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, that one I don't know.
I don't know. I'll find it.
We'll look it up.
I feel like that was on bad, but I could be wrong. Go ahead, Jason. What do you got?
Well, I mean, in order to hint at the fact that we're going to have a special episode coming up here in sometime ever again, never
After February.
after February. If our
It was on bad.
Is it on bad?
if our hosting fees are paid, we'll have that episode.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I've been delving back into some early first wave of the first wave of the second wave
Of black. Yeah.
of black metal. I've been listening to Dark Throne, and the name of the album is A Blaze in the Northern Sky, which is really kind of their first black metal record. And I'm going to go with the title track. I did want to go Within the Shadow of the Horns because on the way here, I was just like banging my head like mad to that song. But there's this really cool ascending riff in the title track, and I think that's winning out tonight. So.
Cool. Mikey.
Nice. So, my what are you listening to this week also ties into something that I've been checking out on the interwebs. An entertainer that is very special to me. I think he's one of the most pure entertainers out there currently. He started a YouTube channel, and basically on this YouTube channel, it's called Jablinski Games. But basically, what it is it's him and his son. It's eventually going to be maybe him playing video games, like all the other YouTube channels out there playing video games. But so far, the first few episodes have just been him hanging out with his son, and like they'll go to the arcade. The one was him at the dentist with his son. They went to a Guitar Center in the last one. But he's just such a, like, you can tell he just loves life. He's just a pure individual. The guy I'm talking about is Jack Black. So he started a YouTube channel where it just seems like he's just chilling with his son.
That's
just hanging out
awesome.
with his son. And I'm going to show it to the guys when we're done here because they're quick episodes, but they're just so awesome. And he's always struck me as one of those people who's just down to earth. He'll take minutes out of his day to talk with all of his fans, and he just he embarrasses his kids, and
That's great.
Yeah, that's the best part about it. Is he's fully enveloped in dad mode now.
Yeah.
So I've been listening to the first Tenacious D album, Tenacious D, the self-titled. The song I'm going to pick is Wonder Boy because it's just, it's a fantasy song. How could you not fall in love with that? The whole album's great, but I definitely recommend checking out that YouTube channel too.
Cool.
It's a lot of fun.
That's fantastic. Well, that effectively puts a cork in this week's episode. Again, guys, thanks once again for tuning in this week, guys and gals. We greatly appreciate you being here. All of our Patreon members, the faithful Whisketeers, those of you who have been here since day 1 up to day 379. We absolutely love having you guys here every week with us, and we love doing this. And we're always looking forward to the next council meeting for sure. So, I think that's everything. Anyone else have any other final carries? No. Then cool. We're done. I am Jay.
I'm out.
I am Jason.
And I am going to take some cold medicine.
And we are the Wednesday Night Whiskey Committee. Please listen responsibly. Perfect. All right, bye. There's your talk.